Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're happy to have so many of you joining us today for our session on our Core 4 series. Today, we're focusing on our resources to help diversity, equity, inclusion, and human rights. Thank you for being here with us today. We're at the top of the hour, so we're going to get started. My name is Catherine Bergerson. I am the Vice President of Marketing for NewsBank. I'll be joined today by my colleague, Matt Stubicki, and we want to thank all of you who have adjusted your schedules to be here with us today. I want to let you know that our session is being recorded, and we will email it out to you in the next few days. If you have any questions throughout our session today, please use the gray bar. It says questions on it. You can just type them in there, and we'll pause throughout the session and try to get to all of them as time permits. Right now, as we are in Hispanic Heritage Month, is the perfect time to be thinking about how to really best utilize Hispanic life in America and planning ahead and looking ahead to Black History Month and utilizing Black life in America, those NewsBank resources. So this is really a great time to look at how you can leverage those resources to support your curriculum in your district or your school. So thank you for joining us. Just want to quickly tell you our agenda for today. We'll give you an overview of these rich collections and really what makes them unique. We'll show you how to search in order to really pinpoint the information that you're looking for. And we'll share ideas about how to build visibility and get this information into the hands of your teachers, students, coworkers, so that they can really maximize these resources. And again, we will have questions throughout the presentation. So as they pop up, put them in the question section and we will pause throughout to get to them. Also, just want to let you know, today's presentation, all of our contact information, the websites that we share with you are all in the handout section. And so you can download those at any time. Just want to share a brief background on NewsBank. We are a leading news and information provider to schools, libraries, research institutions, and we're proud to share, as you can see on your screen right now, this is our 50th anniversary. This month, October, we are celebrating 50 years as a company, and we're so proud of that. So thank you for being a part of it. We aggregate news sources from around the world, bringing you and your teachers and students vetted, credible, reliable information, many of which are global sources and can be accessed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you are in the school library, or accessing them remotely. And you can access them from any device. So the reason we're all here today, of course, is to walk through Hispanic life in America and Black life in America. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Matt Stubicki, to walk us through. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Catherine. And thanks, everyone, for attending and for the time you're giving us today. So today we're going to look at a couple of resources that are geared towards diversity, equity, inclusion, Black life in America and Hispanic life in America. These two resources are subscribed to as add-ons to our Access World News and historical newspapers, or I should say historical newspapers. So hopefully you are familiar with those two as well. You will see a lot of similarities between these resources and those. But there is one big difference with these two collections. They stand out as a unique way of building a database, because what we did, instead of just giving you a collection of magazines, newspapers, or journals and so on, what we did is we did a lot of research with academia, curriculum people, historians, and so on to find out what really is the need, what are people looking for around the African American, Hispanic American experience and impact that they've had on our world. So instead of just putting a bunch of stuff together, what we did is we built a lot of algorithms that would search the entire vault that NewsBank has available. This vault has billions and billions of documents, so we can't just pull everything forward. So by using these algorithms, we're able to look into those documents, search them out, and pull forward the information that is applicable. The algorithms and the databases are refreshed daily, so they are updated on a regular basis and continue to grow. They provide you hyper-local data to regional to international content. So they really are a different way of building and looking at content. With that, let's dig in and get a look at them, okay? I will share my desktop and stop sharing myself. Okay, great. So this is Black Life in America. So you may see the similarities right here with this Google-like search bar that you see in our Access World News database, okay? So you can do a keyword search on anything, okay? I'm just going to hit search, though, to show you a couple of things real fast with this database. So Black Life in America, I just did a quick search, and what you'll see is that this database right now is just shy of 100 million documents, and it continues to grow. So 100,000 sources, or documents rather, 100 million documents, 20,000 sources, and out of those 20,000 sources, approximately a little over 400 of them are actually what would be considered Black publications, okay? And if I go down here and I look at source name, which is one of the filters, so I can go to a specific source name, but when I click on that, what you'll see is that we have just shy of 20,000 sources available, 19,986 different unique sources feeding this database on a regular basis. And over 400 of them are what's considered Black publications, okay? So one of the keys, of course, like our Access World News, where you can do a keyword search, is the ability to filter data. And you can resort your data oldest, best match, it defaults to newest. And one of the things we tout about this database is that it's updated daily. So you're getting information for today, but you're even getting information for tomorrow. As you can see here, this first document is actually October 8th. So that's when it's actually going to hit the street. But we have it available before that, okay? I can filter by date, by decade, for example, from 1700 all the way up to present with this slide bar. I can put in my own set of dates. So example, if I wanted to look at information around race riots from the 1960s, I could put in that date range and apply, and it would filter my date to those ranges. We've got all these different source types that are available. So it's not just newspapers, it's journals, magazines, audio, video, and you can click on any one of those, okay? As I mentioned, we could go to a specific source name. I talked about getting hyper-local all the way to international. So I can filter my data by content, by continent, all the way down to a city. So example, maybe I want to look at only New York content. So when I do that, that filters out everything, and I've got just shy of 6 million documents from New York. But just to give you an idea of how hyper-local we can get, I'm going to click that more options, and you can see we're pulling data from 252 cities in New York. So you can get right down into Amityville, okay, or Alexander, and so on, okay? So it's very, very local you can get to international. We've got multiple languages available. There's a lot of Spanish and French. It's not just English language, and that's the native language of the content we gather, okay? You can filter by eras in history. You can filter by presidential eras, and in some cases, we've even identified historical documents for the actual type of document it is, okay? So as you can see, you can really dig down and get to just the information you're looking for. One of the biggest things about this database that makes it so helpful, though, is our suggested searches. These are really pathways to discovery, okay? You can see it's a timeline that highlights every major era from 1700s all the way through to present. With each of these timelines, you have a set of categories, and under the categories, you'll see notable people. So things that apply to that category, the uprisings, the revolts. And as you go through, you'll note additional categories open up. We are trying to illustrate everything that occurred and how it's being illustrated by the news media. So you can see here, we're getting into literature and arts, science and culture, society, unrest, and so on. So example, if I were to click right here on notable people, and I want to get information on Octavius Cato, who is an educator and a civil rights activist, when I run that search, you'll see that search right here is run, but it's very, very targeted to bring us to good information, okay? Now, I can modify this search if I wish, but just to give you an idea, if I click on this first document, you'll see here that this first document is from the Philadelphia Inquirer, dated January 16, 1877. And this really gives you a good illustration of the difference between this database and others. I only have one page of that newspaper loaded right here, which is the page where this article was pulled from, okay? I then have, of course, across the top, tools for the user. And you've probably seen these tools if you're familiar with our other products. So I could search this page for more information on where this got pulled from. In this case, page 3 of the newspaper. I can create my citation and export to EasyBib, RefWorks, or Noodle Tools. So example, there's the MLA 8 citation. I can email the information. I can clip this, and I'm going to show you how this function works a little bit later. I can print or select a clip, the full page or a clip. I can download it. I can save to an internal folder. Copy link, a great tool right here. This link is a Duro link, so it always opens to this article. So you can share this with teachers, with students, and when they click on it, it opens up this article. For those that might be using Google Classroom, that button looks familiar, so I can download this right into Google Classroom. And again, make it bigger, make it smaller, okay? I've got my breadcrumbs, bring me right back to where I was, okay? And you'll note, as I go through this, if I go to present day, again, lots of different categories. An example here, if I go into the defund police movement, okay, it's starting to boil back up to the surface again. So there, now I've got information on defunding the police when it first started. But you know what? I want to get more current information. What I'll do is I'll just remove that date range, click search, and it will rerun that search for me. So now I've got newer information, okay? And if I scroll down here, oh, you know what? Defund the police, Richmond resident tells the council. That's the article I want. There we go. A full text article. Tools again for the user. Increase the text size, create the citation, the email function, the print function again, the download, save to my folder, the Duro link, so I can copy this link, the Google Classroom, and then all full text articles in both Hispanic Life and Black Life have a read along. It will highlight the words and read right along. I realize you may not be able to hear it, but you get the idea, okay? I go back, okay? And example, I'll go into, we'll go into the Jim Crow area. So another thing that we do for our users, okay, and I'll click on arts and literature and go down here, all right? Fisk Jubilee singers. If there's a specific topic that you study and you don't find it in the timeline, if you let us know what that is, we'll look and see if we have the content to support that for you and if it makes sense to add it. So one of our school districts from Texas came to us and said, we study the Fisk Jubilee singers. Can you add it? So we did. So here you go, article on the Fisk Jubilee singers, okay? And it's built the same way. So we'll actually modify and add content for you based on this, okay? Before I jump into the Hispanic life in America, are there any specific questions on Black life?
I am looking right now, Matt, and this is a great time to pause. If you have any questions, please do send them in. You mentioned adding new topics. Could you remind us how to best go about adding
Sure.
a new topic or an idea of adding.
So all NewsBank databases have this share feedback button. So if you were to click that, that will open up a window that will allow you to put information into it, okay? You can begin a survey and then put information into that. So you can share your feedback that way. The other way is simply reach out to our customer service department or your sales executive that you work with and let them know exactly what you're looking for. And we'll get that information over to our editorial team that they can look into it from there.
Great, thank you. I don't see any other questions right now, but please keep them coming and we'll move on to the next part. Thanks, Matt.
So let's jump over to Hispanic Life in America, okay? You'll see, just like Black Life in America, that Google-like search bar, those suggested topics. Now, if I click on the search for Hispanic Life without putting in a term, that'll tell me how many documents we currently have available within that. And you'll see we're just shy of 50 million documents. And again, this is updated daily, okay? And we've got content for a couple of days in advance. So we're getting the content in advance, okay? We've got the same filters and tools right down that sidebar. So everything is consistent. Now, if I click on source name, more options, okay, you'll see that with this database, a different set of algorithms than what is in Black Life in America, of course. So here, we're pulling from just shy of 18,000 documents, or I should say sources rather, okay? So, and out of those 18,000 sources, over 700 of them are Spanish language sources as well, okay? And then just like Black Life in America, this gets everything from international to very local. So again, if I typed in a state here, and maybe we'll go to Florida this time, okay? So I click apply, and this will then filter out my data. I've got almost 5 million documents from Florida. And if I click more options, I see we're pulling from 161 cities in Florida. So again, from that very local to national to regional to state, you can really get different perspectives based on dates, location, and so on. You can compare and contrast one state to another state and so on, okay? Now, if I go home and I go back to that timeline, let's look at, again, 1700s all the way to current. One of the things that we have done too is we provide, you'll note on these content or topic categories, we've got one that says historical reflections. So give you an example here. Even though we don't have the content from back in the 1500s, we can still get reflections on what occurred then. So example, Ponce de Leon, right? So if I want to look at the history of Ponce de Leon and what he did, oh, look at this. I've got a document from 1784, the history of America. And they're talking about how Ponce de Leon, right here, okay, founded many areas, Puerto Rico, Florida, and so on, okay? Here's a great example of how that clip function comes in handy. I'm doing my project on this, and I need that piece of information. So what I do is I select the clip. I can now size it because this is the article I want. I want this portion of the article that talks about his exploration. And then I get the chance to print it, download it, or save it to Google. So I'm going to download it, and I will even include that citation with it. So now what the system's going to do is it's going to clip it off of the page for me, drop it right down into a nice clean PDF. And you can see now I've got a nice clean PDF to use, and here's my citation. So I'm ready to roll with that and finish that one-page essay that I have to give in tomorrow to my teacher, okay? And again, just like everything else, we've got our breadcrumbs right here to go right back to where I was. If I go through the timeline again, you'll note, more and more categories open up. We're getting into everything. So, oh, look at this, Zoot Suits and West Side Story. Okay, well, you know what? West Side Story was one of my favorites. So I'm going to click on this just so I can see what it looks like. So here they're talking about West Side Story and it being an Oscar winner, right? But that's from the original, which was a fantastic movie. Well, you know what? I'd like to know what they said and who won what about the new one. So I can simply, again, remove that date. I can hit search. Now, you'll note because we've got Oscar in the search here, we're getting stuff outside of just West Side Story. But oh, look at this. Here we go. I get down here, West Side Story. Boom. Okay. So it's talking about best supporting actress, right? So here I get some great information on that actual work. And again, the same tools across the top. Okay. I can go back to my results and explore some more if I wish, or exactly go back to NewsBank. And again, if we go to present day stuff, okay, so here, for example, present day, again, we've got more historical reflections on present day. What if I go into notable people? Wow, what a story for men and women, period, across the board. Okay, this very first article on Sylvia Acevedo talks about how she started as a Girl Scout and now she is an acclaimed NASA rocket scientist. Okay, what a great, great story this is. So a great way to show civil rights and human rights and how people can rise above and really be successful and so on. Okay, and again, my tools right across here, and then I can go right back to where I started. All of these are the same, and you have the same option here that if you're looking for something and you can't find it, let us know. If we have the content and it makes sense, we'll add it, because if you're looking for it, someone else probably is. Okay. Now, there's one other nice tool in these databases that I want to show you, and it's right here, this Learn About the Database. If you click on that, that will open up a document that tells you everything you need to know, in this case about Hispanic life in America. It tells you the time periods. It tells you what we're covering inside of it. Okay. We give you more hints on searching and so on. So just a great, great document that you could print out and use and share with your students and your teachers that are using it. Okay. And all of these databases have that. So you'll see here, Black Life in America. Here's that document. And again, the same thing. It's telling us what are we covering, what's in it. Okay. And let's get started. Hints on searching and using the database. So just a great, great document to help you get moving in the right direction. Any questions I can answer on Black life in America or Hispanic life in America?
Wow, thank you, Matt. Thanks for walking through that. Could you talk to us a bit, particularly with Hispanic life in America, sources that aren't in English? What resources do we have that are in Spanish or other languages?
Oh, in Spanish? Sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click here on the search real fast. All right. And I'll show you how to get to that content. Now, number one, you've got this language. So if I click here, okay, Spanish, this is showing me the 10,000 plus documents that are in Spanish. Okay. Now, if you put a term, though, in your search bar in Spanish, okay. So, for example, if I type in Presidente and I hit search, the results I'm going to get that come back, as you note, are only in Spanish. So if you put your search in Spanish, your results will come back in Spanish that way. And then you've got the same filters available here. I hope that answers that question.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And thank you for all of those questions. Keep them coming. Thank you very much, Matt. We're going to move to the next section, where now that we know more about these fantastic resources and how to pinpoint that information, we want to get it into the hands of your colleagues, teachers, students. And so here are our top 5 strategies to build awareness and engage your users with these NewsBank resources. And all of these are ready to use. You can customize them for your school, library, district, or even your class. You can copy and paste them. However you would like to use them, we offer these to you. So our first is host a hands-on training. I don't know if you know this, but NewsBank offers complimentary training sessions for our customers. So if you have Black Life in America, Hispanic Life in America, gather a group, and Matt's team will be happy to show you how to use and customize the resources to best fit your needs. Or you can even use this presentation. You'll receive a recording, and please share it with others who may find it beneficial. Number 2 is building an online web presence. Of course, the more places you can add links, the more likely it is that people will discover it and then use it. So if you have like a featured resource of the month or a did you know section, particularly right now as we're in Hispanic Heritage Month, this is a great time to feature Hispanic life in America. We have graphics, we have a brief descriptions that you can use, and you can see on your screen here some examples from customers and how they incorporate these resources into their web pages. Number 3, NewsBank resources integrate, as Matt mentioned, with discovery services and learning management systems like Blackboard and Canvas. We have web pages packed with PDFs and video instructions on how you can add articles to your assignments within your LMS system. And that makes it then much easier to discover and use. Number 4, e-newsletters or social media. We have ready-to-use write-ups and graphics about each resource. These make a great addition to your internal newsletters to staff, perhaps with updates on new resources. This is a great thing to include, or even out to teachers and students and parents in the district may be interested that they have access to use these. And they're just brief write-ups. You can use them either in an e-newsletter, I like to call them newsletter nuggets, or you can put them on your social media pages. Number 5, video views. Video is the #1 way to engage. And we have brief overview videos and how to use videos for both Black Life in America and Hispanic Life in America. So please feel free to use these, add them to your website near the resource or your YouTube page or social media. We encourage you to please use and share those videos. And then we've got some bonus ideas here. Enhance your program. So if you're featuring a particular book or an art exhibit or an author for, let's say, Hispanic Heritage Month, pull some articles about that author or artist with some interesting facts and background information. We hear from teachers that these articles really help provide context and offer a more well-rounded real-world experience for students. Another idea is to create an assignment. You can utilize articles from the database, as Matt talked about. It goes back to 1704. Compare and contrast issues and see how they're covered over time. For example, immigration, border issues are ever present. You can help teachers with suggestions or pull a few articles from the database for students to compare how an issue is, again, covered over time. And it's a great way to include historical information. We find our feedback tells us that students really love the images and the articles and find that they're really fascinating. And it's an opportunity to share with students how the past really informs the present and helps with that critical thinking skills that we're trying to develop. Number 3, create your own social media posts. You can, or even newsletter articles. Look up a significant event in your school's history or your town's history, whatever is trending, something that's interesting to share, and remind people that they can find articles like this and others in Hispanic Life in America and the Black Life in America resources. So those are our top 5 and some bonus ways to get people into the resources. I'd like to show you one more thing. Now, you can use these ideas anytime, and we have them all here on our website in our resource center on newsbank.com. We have even more here. We have bookmarks that you can print out, search tips that Matt mentioned. They're all in our Marketing and Resource Center for schools. So I would like to suggest you may want to consider sending this page to whomever puts together your staff newsletters or school updates. They may find some of the information in here valuable. I know as a marketing and communications person, I certainly like some new ideas, and ready to use ideas is always very helpful. So I'm going to pause here again and see if there are any more questions. You can just enter them in the little gray bar that says questions. Matt, we have one question that I believe is for you, is how often is the database updated?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Nope.
The database is actually updated and refreshed daily. So every day we update the content within both databases.
Excellent, thank you. And thank you to everyone for your questions. If you think of something after today's session, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll be happy to answer your questions at any time. Up next, Matt and I invite you to join us for the third webinar in our Core 4 series, which is next week, next Thursday. We'll be back here at 1 o'clock for how the past informs the present using America's historical newspapers. So again, that's next Thursday, October 13th at 1 o'clock. And then later in October, we will share with you getting to know Research Rocket. And Research Rocket is our resource for beginning or young researchers. So please join us for those two sessions. If you have a colleague that would benefit, we encourage you to pass that information along as well. So one last plug for today's resources. Today is just one step in our commitment to working with you. Please let us know if you would like that customized training session, gather a group, reach out to us, and we will be happy to find a time that's mutually convenient. If you have questions about LMS integrations and how to make that work, we're here, and our customer service team is ready and willing to help. So we hope you found today's session valuable and that you have some actionable ways to reach out to your district teachers and students right away. As you log out today, you will see a survey. If you would please take a moment, just let us know what you thought about today's session, how we can improve. We would certainly appreciate that. I do see that we have a question. Matt, I believe this is for you. Are sources added and deleted? How does that work with sources?
Okay, sources would be added based on if we found the content that when we run the algorithm, okay, and we found maybe a new source that had content within that to match the algorithm, we would then add that source to the database. The only way a source would actually be deleted is if we lost, for some reason, the rights to that content, which is very, very rare.
Yeah. That's a great question. Thank you for that. A question about citation styles. What citation styles are available?
Okay, so with
let Matt share his screen again.
All right, give me one sec. Yep, I can share my screen again, and we'll throw that over here. And let's go into Hispanic Life, share my screen. Okay, you see my screen okay?
We do, thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to click on this and click on this article. All right, and we'll go to citation type so you can see all our different AP, MLA, Caribbean, Harvard, CMS, Chicagoan. So these would be all the different citation types we have available.
Thank you very much, Matt. And can you confirm if it's MLA 8 or 9?
It is MLA 8 right now. We've been looking at 9. We know there's not a lot of differences between 8 and 9 at this point. I don't have any time frame on when that would be changed or updated, unfortunately.
Well, we will certainly keep people posted on that. So thank you very much, everyone. We appreciate those questions. And again, we certainly appreciate your time and spending part of your day with us. Take that survey as you exit today, please. And on behalf of the NewsBank team, we want to thank you for sharing part of your day with us. Have a great afternoon. Bye.